The wait is over. There is NFL football on your television tonight, Thursday night, and this Sunday, all afternoon long, including your Cleveland Browns taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to talk about everything you need to know for this game, some promising signs for the Cleveland Browns, and a score prediction. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the Browns Report. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue. We are so close to 51,340 subs away, currently sitting at 50,657. You guys are amazing for that. We appreciate you so much. And without further ado, let's get into this matchup. The Browns are changing course here a little bit. If there's one AFC North opponent that Cleveland can beat and has honestly been beating relatively consistently as of late, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns are 6-4 versus the Bengals in their last 10 matchups. Joe Burrow, as a quarterback, 3-5 versus the Browns all time. Cleveland's kind of had his number, and Burrow has even joked about that. 2024 Bengals, by the way, hold the NFL record for the most points per game in losses. Their defense has been atrocious despite their great offense. You look at some of their ranks from last year, 25th in total defense in all the NFL. They're giving up nearly 350 yards per game. Cleveland can exploit that, especially with the gunslinger Joe Flacco, who can still sling it from the pocket. Bengals were 30th in red zone defense as well. Teams were converting at nearly a 68% clip. If Cleveland gets in the red zone, I guarantee they put up a couple touchdowns on that Bengals defense that was surrendering them all season long in 2024. Finally, the Bengals had the 25th scoring defense in the league. Those are atrocious ranks, and they were giving up 25.5 points a game, folks. Cleveland can put up points against this team and absolutely be in a good position to win it. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And, of course, we have a difference maker, Myles Garrett, who Joe Burrow gave a quote on earlier this week. He said, he can win the game if you let him. He's going to make plays, and when he does, you've just got to hold on to the ball and not make a bad play worse. I mean, Burrow's literally saying, there's nothing you can do about him. Like, he's going to make a play, and I just got to try and make it as good of a play for the Bengals as I can. But Garrett's going to get home. He also talked about having a game plan against him. Well, it's hard to do. And he's literally saying Garrett can win this game. You look at Myles Garrett's career against the Bengals, 13 sacks in 12 games, 28 tackles, 113 yards of sacks. I mean, he's a monster. He's also broken up 3 passes as a defensive end and forced 2 fumbles. The Bengals know him well, and he is a difference maker. Like Burrow said, he could literally win this game for Cleveland. He is that good. And Cleveland will have a lot of their players, potentially all of them. The Browns injury report from Wednesday, the only player that didn't practice is Mike Hall Jr. Everybody else is ramping up in good shape. Ethan Pocic practiced in a limited capacity. Seems like he will be able to be the Browns starting center after all. Mohamoud Diabate, quad injury, not too bad either. He was able to practice limited. So did Shelby Harris, Cornelius Lucas, so a little more depth at the offensive line for Cleveland. Cedric Tillman said his thumb injury is not serious at all. He was a full practice. Denzel Ward's shoulder progressing well. He practiced Wednesday also, and Blake Whiteheart as well. So Cleveland, who's been plagued by the injury bug a little bit in years past, starting off week 1 on a promising note where everybody is practicing, it seems like. This is a good omen for the Browns, and another good omen is the Bengals have been trash in week 1 and 2 under head coach Zach Taylor. 18.6 points per game, 25th, and the turnover differential, -9. That ranks 28th as well. They just keep getting off to slow starts. Yards per play, 4.6, second worst in all the NFL, and their red zone touchdown percentage, 45%, which is 31st. And I already showed you, they give up a lot of touchdowns in the red zone last year. Well, in weeks 1 and 2, they keep getting off to slow starts. So even though Burrow had a magnificent season last year, the Bengals kept starting off slow, and that's why they missed the playoffs. I think that's a theme that's going to continue. And I have 3 keys for the Cleveland Browns. You're going to want to tune into these in order to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. We've talked about the stats, the matchups. Well, now it's time to get into what will be the keys for Cleveland. But first, I'm super excited to tell you guys about today's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Honestly, I'm just so ready for football to be back on Sundays. That's when all is right with the world. And I'm big into daily fantasy with Prize Picks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So I am eligible to play, and I made a lineup of my own. First of all, Prize Picks is giving you an awesome deal where you can get Dak Prescott more than half a passing yard. He needs to throw 1 yard against the Eagles, and that pick is correct. Then I got Cedric Tillman's longest reception, more than 18.5 yards. I think he gets at least a 20-yard catch from Flacco. And finally, Joe Flacco, they have at half a passing touchdown. I think he gets more than that. He just needs 1. You could tail me or fade me, but that's what I'm thinking. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Getting into my keys to victory for the Cleveland Browns. First of all, don't give up 30 points to this offense. I showed you the Bengals' defense was atrocious last year. Their offense was hard carrying them to 9 wins, all because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, look at the season that Joe Burrow had last year. He was an MVP candidate on a team that didn't even make the playoffs. 70.6% completion percentage. 4,918 yards and 43 touchdowns. Video game numbers. He's ridiculous. That's the key to the Bengals' success is their quarterback and wide receiver duo. So Cleveland, who has a good defense this year, is going to need to do their best to contain Burrow and Jamar Chase, who also went absolutely nuclear in 2024. 1,708 yards and 17 touchdowns? Unfathomable. Thank God Denzel Ward is healthy. He's one of the only corners I think can actually match up with Jamar Chase. But all he's got to do is try and slow him down. We can't give up 30 points and then expect to win that game. So that's my first key. Second, don't turn the ball over. This one is more imperative than ever. And Joe Flacco, while I do love that he takes shots down the field, he throws interceptions, and he has the past couple seasons in his career, even last year with the Colts. I mean, 7 picks and took 18 sacks in 2024 in just 8 games. That's not good. Also in 2023 with Cleveland, he threw 8 interceptions in the regular season. So Flacco needs to be a little more safe with the football. Like I said, Browns defense is good. Bengals defense is not good. You don't want to give the Bengals offense good field position. It's the worst thing you can do when the defense isn't going to make plays on their own. So don't give it to them and then have an offense that's going to capitalize set up. Keep their defense out on the field. That's where Cleveland can win the game. And one place I also think games are always won, in the trenches. Browns offensive line needs to hold up. The one bright spot in Cincinnati's defense is Trey Hendrickson, and they almost couldn't even pay him. Incompetent organization. But I think the Browns' offensive line is going to need to give Flacco time to throw. They need to hold up because a guy like Hendrickson is going to try and get through. And he might be one of those guys you also can't do much about. But everybody else on the defense, Cleveland can take advantage of. Cleveland can air it out. Cleveland can run the football if their offensive line holds up. So I think that is one of the most important things. This game's going to be won in the trenches. And you got to give Flacco time to throw. You know, he hasn't really started a full season in years. And Hendrickson led the league in sacks in 2024. Also 19 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Like, he's a problem. But everybody else doesn't concern me as much. So, Cleveland, hold up on offense. Give Flacco time. Let your running backs give them open lanes to run, you know? You're going to have Ford as the 1. and a rookie Sampson as the 2. So, they're going to need all the help they can get up front. I think that's one of the most imperative keys to winning this game. And now it's time to actually predict it. Folks, I'm calling an upset here on the Browns Report. I've got the Browns over the Bengals, 23-17. Listen, Cincinnati's gotten off to slow starts. Even Burrow and Chase have looked bad early weeks in the season, and then they pick it up. I'm just going with the trends. I've seen it years in a row. I think we're going to see it again. Burrow's going to be rusty. Cleveland's had his number. Zach Taylor can't coach in week 1 for some reason. I've got the Cleveland Browns winning, keeping it safe. They'll put up 23. That's all they'll need. That's my prediction. But who do you got? Browns, Bengals. Comment your exact score prediction. How cool would it be if you comment it and you get it right? That's why I want you to go ahead, drop it in the comment section, and I'll go in, see what everybody's thinking. But have some faith in the Brownies, and make sure you are subscribed because we're doing watch parties every game. Tune in live here on the Browns Report. And as always, we appreciate you so much for being here with us. Let's have a party. Let's rock all season long for Cleveland Browns football. It's back, baby.